Hello everyone. It's been an episode ago. Anyone missed me? Hmm? It's okay. I didn't even miss me. My name is Agnes Obi, and I am super excited to initiate dialogues that directly strikes us either as individuals, a community, a family, and even a nation. So last episode we had a spotlight on corruption in Nigeria, and I promised it wasn't the last of it. So we received blows from other leaders calling Nigeria a fantastically corrupt nation, a shithole country. Now, do these people have the moral audacity to call us out in such manner? Anyways, that's a story for another day. So today, let's look inwards. And of course, I won't be ranting alone today. I have here with me Best Okudua, an uber talented social entrepreneur and an award-winning filmmaker. All right, Best. It's great having you here today. So tell us, what are your views on corruption?
Thank you for having me to talk about this. And I'd like to start with the fact that the statistical report from the anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International last year recorded that 136 out of 180 Nigerians are corrupt. I mean, sad as it may seem, but that's just the truth. And fast forward to 2017, when you would have thought that, okay, there should have been a decline in that ratio, in that statistics, given that, we have this PMB anti-corruption war. But ironically, that ratio shot up.
Increased.
Yeah, it increased. I mean, we in 2017, Transparency International recorded 148 out of 180.
That's terrible.
Now, that's actually terrible. And now you come to corruption by itself. Corruption is not a political thing. Corruption is a human thing. Before, politicians are human beings who are morally bankrupt. And now you cannot just help it. Trust me. Because really and truly, even if you see that the government is corrupt, what is your perspective of the government? Okay, I'll tell you what my perspective of the government is. Contrary to the popular documented arms of government, the three arms of government, I like to see the government in four arms. We have the legislative, we have the executive, we have the judiciary, and most importantly, we have the people. The people is a very important arm of the government. The people is the transitional arm. Now, this is what I mean by the transitional arm. It is actually the people that transit into being the legislative, the judiciary, the executive in due course. Now, what's the difference? The people. That young man that probably accused the snake, or the young woman that accused the snake of cutting away 36 million naira before manning that position, is a person, he's a Nigerian. Now, that other man that actually accused the monkey of cutting away with over 70 million naira before the political position he assumes, is a person, he's a Nigerian. So corruption is actually should not be tied to politics. It's a human thing that needs to be dealt with. Now, be it as it may, I like to say to a lot of people, it's a venom that has actually sunk so deep in the Nigerian system that I'm afraid I probably do not have an idea to what can be the solution. Because I say to a lot of people, how easy is it for you to ask an addicted smoker to quit smoking overnight? That's literally not practical. It's not realistic. How realistic is it for you to actually ask a womanizer, a chronic womanizer, to stop womanizing overnight? These are habits. So is corruption. Corruption is actually an habit that perpetually lives in the lives of the perpetrators right now. So you can't just you can't just spring up one day and say you're making a government policy, or you're trying to you hold a seminar or a colloquium or what have you, and you say, oh please everybody, this is a new government, please and please, because I am here, do not be corrupt. It does not work. Do not be corrupt, meaning what? You understand?
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem. It's a problem that can be tackled only from its root. And the journey to its roots, it's another problem. So really, I pretty much agree with you that the system, the entire system. And when I say the system, I do not mean to say the people in office alone. The entire Nigerian system is a corrupt system. I mean, you go to a fuel station today and there is probably fuel hike, and the attendants in the fuel station will actually make you pay a mandatory 500 naira before they can attend to you, just because there is fuel hike. Now that is corruption.
Yeah.
Now some very some young man who actually even live below the whatever belt of the economy has actually seen an opportunity to swindle every other Nigerian from their hard-earned money. Now when there is traffic and one very important person feels he's too big to actually, join the order, you see them boycotting and taking one way. And this is actually a very typical characteristics of even the people that are supposed to be the law enforcement people. It is only in this country I come to realize that the law enforcement are actually above the law. They enforce the law, but they do not abide by the law. And now somebody stands up and tell me, oh, that president is corrupt, that minister is corrupt, that commissioner is corrupt, that councillor is corrupt, that is why this country is not moving forward. No. Nigerians are corrupt, and that is why this country is not moving forward.
Very true, because if we all have to come out individually to stick by rules and regulations, I think a lot can be changed.
Probably yes. I agree with you.
Alright, so what do you think are the solutions right now?
Well, in my early narrative, I did make mention of the fact that dealing with this issue, dealing with this bane, dealing with this venom, this poison in our society right now would actually, warrant you traveling to the root of the problem. And now the journey to the root of the problem is another problem, because how do you even get there in record time and you're able to turn things around for good, I mean for real? Like I did make mention of other cases like the smoker, like the womanizer, I mean it's not a very, very easy practice to convert an addict. And now it brings me to my one and most preferred solution: prevention. Look, see, we're actually suffering from a result of a crop of morally bankrupt people who actually have no moral value whatsoever, people who have no respect for humanity, people who have no regard for God. These are the people we are dealing with. And it didn't start today. It started the day that they were actually, fresh enough to be bent, young enough to be influenced, but nobody actually influenced them. Nobody bent them, just like the crayfish, the fresh seafood. Fresh out of the sea, flexible. You can actually, shape them to whatever shapes you want to. But once they pass through fire, and that is the journey through life itself, if you bend it, it breaks. You cannot reshape it again.
That's true.
And that is the situation. And I call to all Nigerian quarters who probably, have the good of Nigeria at heart, and I say to them, why don't we all just come together and invest in prevention? Nigeria is at as it is right now. Okay, we are dealing with it already. We are struggling so hard to be happy regardless. But our children do not have to live in the Nigeria we are living in right now. That will be utmost cruelty in our parts.
Yeah, a disaster for their future. There's no security in that.
At all. No, so what can we do collectively to ensure that this do not happen to our children? Prevention. Invest in prevention. I mean, we need very, very, very influential crime sensitization projects, popular ones. When I say popular, I mean projects that can actually get to the nooks and crannies of the country, sensitize and empower young people. I am not a fan of the labor law. The labor law that says that you cannot be useful to yourself until you are 18. I am not a fan of that law. You understand? Because, I mean, you see these young people, they tend to graduate from secondary school between the age of 13 and 14, thereabouts. Mm-hmm. Some of them do not even have the resources to go to a school or probably learn apprenticeship or whatever it is they want to do with their life. And you ask them to wait until they are 18. What do they do with their life between 13, 14 and 18? At 18 is a fully formed criminal that you cannot convert but hunt down and shoot down. Is that the preferred way of moving forward?
That's not a way.
Why do you want to hunt them and gun them down when you can actually create a path for them right now that would see that they never toil in that path? Prevention. Prevention is very key. If we can begin to reach out to the younger generations right now and impact moral values in them, begin to make them understand that there is a system that works. There is a system that can work. Maybe fast forward to the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, we would not even be talking about this. We'll be talking about the next technological what's that word? Please borrow me the word. Advancement, the next infrastructure that one Nigerian child has built, the next we're going to be talking about lots of progressive things and not sitting down and we're talking about same corruption that lots of other people have sat down to analyze and provide solutions to, yet we are not getting anywhere close to the solutions. So I come again. Prevention. This can be prevented if enough resources can be consciously channeled to prevention. Prevention is a valid tool to curb corruption. Yes, futuristically. But is there really so much we can do right now? Maybe yes. But then, we would actually invest less in safeguarding our future right now than deciding to look for the mitigating approach that as we are doing right now in the next 10-15 years. That would be like a roller coaster ride, which we have been in for as long as I can remember.
For decades now. All right, thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Best. We really do appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, you've heard him, and we will be discussing other issues with other amazing Nigerians. And do not forget, dialogue is an essential tool. Let's not keep quiet. Let's talk about the problems, and of course, let's talk about the solutions. Your darling, Agnes. See ya.